Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of ChimpChat. I'm joined today by Melanie Horowitz of the law offices of Melanie Horowitz. She's a traffic ticket attorney and traffic defense attorney, helping clients with obviously traffic tickets, but also with suspended licenses and those sorts of infractions. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Nice to have you. Nice to be here.
All right. So ultimately, everybody's talking about, COVID-19 and coronavirus. And obviously, things are starting to open up a little bit now. Things are happening. So first, talk to me about what you've seen in your business over the last 6 weeks that, as far as from a traffic tickets perspective.
Well, from a traffic ticket perspective, I've seen a lot less calls because less people are on the road. So the call that I have received are people with suspended licenses, people now who wanted to do things on their own, they can't. So they would call me and ask me to help them. I received calls from people whose license was suspended for many different reasons, sometimes related to a traffic ticket or sometimes related to an insurance issue or even a judgment for having a car accident without insurance.
Okay. So talk to me about how you've helped people and what kind of some of the pitfalls, are the courts even open? How can you go about that right now?
So it actually makes it very difficult, make things that I could do instantly a little longer. For example, I had a client whose license is suspended for a judgment, and this is an ongoing thing. Every once in a while, she stops paying on the judgment and her license gets suspended. So I was hired and I worked out an agreement with the attorney holding the judgment. The client then paid the attorney. And then normally I would drive to his office because his office is right next to mine or a couple blocks away. And I would get something that I would bring to DMV. So I'd go to his office, pick it up, and then drive to DMV immediately. And then I can reinstate the license. And they paid on a Friday. I could have done it on a Monday since they paid that attorney pretty late in the day. But it took over a week and a half in this case because that attorney then had to notify DMV. I couldn't go to the office, pick it up. They had to send it electronically to DMV. It took so long for that process to happen. And then I just had to reach out to someone in Tallahassee in order to pay. The person I had contact with disappeared. So I had someone I was working with in DMV through in Tallahassee, a special contact for this purpose. That person disappeared, so I had to reach out to another attorney to give me another name. And finally, I was able to reach out to someone to reinstate my client's license.
So that was one specific instance. I mean, what else are you seeing? I mean, that was, first of all, I find it shocking that a person would keep getting back into the same rut. It feels like it'd just be a whole lot cheaper if they would just pay their bills on time, but neither here nor there. Clearly, they've made some pretty bad decisions leading up to this point, regardless.
Yeah.
But on other circumstances, a person just gets a random suspended license, whatever happens. Are they suspended? Are they suspending licenses now based on not paying traffic tickets? What are you seeing in your office in that capacity?
So people have court fees that were due during the COVID closing. So if anyone's court fees are due from May 16th to the present, the court is not adding late fees. And so licenses are not getting suspended for those reasons. However, if your license is already suspended and now you all of a sudden have an urge to drive, then it's challenging because I can't just go to the courthouse and reinstate the license or pay late fees to the courthouse by driving there. I have to, in Broward County, I can't even pay late fees online. So I have been going to the post office all the time and mailing a check to Broward County Clerk of Court in an overnight envelope and mailing it. And then the clerk's office is only working to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So by the time they get it and process it, there's an extra day that they do it, and then I have to call them and make sure it gets done.
Gotcha. So let's pivot the conversation a little bit. When this gets aired, right now, as we're recording this, they're slowly opening things up, and as this airs, probably a few things more have started opening up. So there are going to be more people on the road. What kind of issues do you foresee as they start opening up things?
So Broward County Court is scheduled to open June 1st. Miami-Dade County is not sure when they're going to open because they're just not sure. They're talking about having Zoom hearings in the middle of May. And Palm Beach Court is going to have Zoom hearings starting next week. So for Broward County, since they're the only ones scheduled to open to the public again, I'm not really sure how it's going to work, to be honest with you. I don't know, having they're going to have people, there's so many people usually in a courtroom, you have to go through security, and then you're walking in a hallway with people passing you, and then sitting in the courtroom, you have bailiff there, you have the hearing officers, you have clerk employees, all there. So they're going to have to reconfigure the courtroom in order to allow it to be safe for all of us. And so that's concerning. I'm not really sure how that's going to work out, but I'm looking forward to going back and getting back to what I do the best.
Fair enough. I think a lot of people are getting a little, you know, cabin fever and really wanted to kind of get back to things as long as it can be done safely. So is there any scuttlebutt, and I know, you know, obviously you have relationships with the traffic ticket attorneys. Is there any talk about concerns with regard to an increased number of accidents? Because the people on the road that I have seen when I have been out is people are driving a lot faster because, you know, the roads are empty by definition. Right. I mean, comparatively. So people have started to pick up their speed pretty substantially. And I think it's going to be harder to turn off and realize. And then the other side of it is people have a short memory. And I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of people that aren't great drivers, like having not driven really for the last 6-8 weeks. Is there any talk with you and your colleagues with regard to what you're anticipating? Are you anticipating a huge flood of issues?
So I'm not, but I know that I've received a few accident cases more recently, the last couple of days. But they're just talking about, my colleagues are just talking about how there's not as much traffic at the moment, and they don't really have that vision to see how things are going to be changing. A lot of my colleagues have spoken to police officers that they're friends with, and the police officers have told them that they're not stopping cars.
Okay.
Because they're afraid of who, you don't know who's going to be in the car. You don't know if that person has COVID, so they're not stopping cars. So that's what we're talking about.
So basically you're saying it's completely safe for me to go drive 100 miles an hour down University Drive. So I'm hearing that you're saying it's completely and totally acceptable for me to do that. That's what I just heard. By the way, I did not actually hear that. For anybody listening, for those of you listening and watching, no, she did not say that. I am making a joke. So interesting stuff. So obviously, you know, your business is very predicated on the number of drivers that are out there and the police officers' willingness to stop people for when they are breaking the law. Yeah. What are you doing, if anything, to pivot and to market your business during these tough times?
So I was a little behind contacting clients with the results of their cases. So I'm taking advantage of this time, catching up, and I'm commenting, letting everybody know what I do, and reaching out to everyone. I've called clients as well, and trying to see how they're doing, and letting them know that they need to talk to me, that I'm here. And it's a good opportunity for me in that regard, and to market myself in a subtle way.
Gotcha. Excellent. So do you have any questions for me? I mean, yeah. Sure.
I mean, so, and you know, you asked me about pivoting. I don't know. I mean, I want to make myself an expert in the community as someone who can reinstate your driver's licenses. What's a good way to market myself as an expert? I also am great at reversing 5-year revocations, which is also a license suspension. And so that's really what I wanted to market myself as.
Well, I think ultimately, whenever you're talking about marketing yourself as an expert, it's about perception and content and providing valuable content. So ultimately, the more aware of people you are, and obviously as you know, you get those referrals and those sorts of things, but beyond that, it's putting out good content. It's providing information to people that they find valuable. And from that point, they can make more educated decisions of, oh, this person gave me really good advice, and I don't even, oh, that's right, it was Melanie Horowitz that kind of got me there. So it's really providing value. It's providing information and establishing yourself as the expert, and then you become the expert. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And obviously, it's concerning as a lawyer that there's very specific rules as pertains to the word expert. Okay, yeah. Obviously, you know, board certification. I know there was the Florida bar was challenged by that about a year ago, a little over, that you can maybe kind of sort of use the word expert and not be board certified. Still a bit of a gray area that's kind of generally advised not to use it unless you're board certified. But really, from a general marketing perspective, what makes a person an expert is someone who says that they're an expert. And then they demonstrate the expertise through content and providing value. So for someone like yourself, it's providing value, providing videos online, and providing other sorts of information that people otherwise may not know. For example, the 5-year revocation, like you just mentioned, making people aware of, hey, not just we do 5-year revocations. That's just saying what you do.
Right.
Saying, if you have a 5-year revocation, these are 5 things that you can do to get it reinstated. Now, realistically, most people aren't going to do it themselves.
Right.
Okay. But many people will then be reminded, oh, you were the one who said I could even do it myself. And then they call you.
Right. That is something that I feel like it does make sense. That's something that they can't really do themselves. But I hear what you're saying.
But you understand, you understand the general point of how you can establish that. Top 3 things you can do if you're ever getting a traffic citation. The 7 things that you need to know if you get your license suspended.
Oh, that's great.
It's providing those sorts of information to establish yourself as the expert. You're not saying I'm the expert. You're giving the information that gives the implication that you are in fact the expert.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want. Perfect.
So thank you so much for joining me today. You've been wonderful. Why don't you give us 30-second quick commercial about you and your business and how you've helped people? Because I know that you've helped both friends and family. Knock on wood, I have not gotten a ticket since I've known you, but clearly I have had some family members and friends who have, and you've always done a great job. So quickly give a quick plug.
Thank you, Jeff. I really appreciate that. And thank you for all your referrals. And my law office is the law office of Melanie. Horowitz has been around for 15 years, and we specialize in traffic tickets in Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties, in addition to criminal cases and reinstating driver's licenses. And talking about 5-year revocations, it's called habitual traffic offender. And one of my favorite things to do is reversing the habitual traffic offender status. And look at their license, look at how they got in that situation. A lot of times it's based on a case that was resolved that they shouldn't have resolved in a certain way, whether they went to the clerk's office and paid it or not. And then I get to reverse it for them. So that's something that we love to do, and it's one of my specialties, and I really enjoy it. And we have great customer service, and I look forward to helping everyone who calls.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. And I'll include Melanie's information in the description below and on the YouTube channel. I'm Jeff with Flying Chimp. This has been another episode of ChimpChat. Remember, everybody, be safe, be kind, pass the hat, and help local businesses that are hurting during these difficult times. And I'll see you next time.